Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. It is your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. In 2018, Breguet updated its entire marine aquatic sports watch collection. This is the Breguet Marine 5517. It's the core model for the collection. It anchors the entire series of aquatically themed Breguet sports watches. Now, 40 millimeters in diameter in rose gold, the 5517 is quite slim at 11.8 millimeters thick. And then from lug tip to lug tip, the total distance across these integrated lugs is 47.7 millimeters, so it's not quite as broad as it looks. We'll throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, and you can see that it has a full size on the wrist, though it is not oversized. It has a broader stance than you might expect for 47.7 lug to lug, because there is some stiffness to the strap, and those lugs are rather blockish and prominent, and they protrude rather dramatically. That said, it is quite slender with a domed bezel. It'll easily slide underneath the dress cuff. I recommend it for a wrist of 15 centimeters circumference or larger. There is a little bit of rigidity in the way the strap joins the case. You can see it's fixed with the highest level of quality using a combination of proprietary screws and bars to hold it fast in a way that a simple spring bar never could. It's a high-grade strap. You can see it is a combination of a very dark brown with semi-gloss finish, large rectangular scale alligator leather, a monotone stitch, a folded edge on the bottom. You can see that this is calfskin, a Breguet factory strap, and we have a buckle created expressly for this collection. You can see the motif, almost like a nautical wheel on the buckle, and the same motif on the rotor itself for a nice piece of design parallelism. There are little knurled triggers outboard, so you press them and it releases the clasp. It is a double folding clasp, as you can see, which is good, because I find that single folds can often pinch a small wrist. That doesn't happen with the doubles. You can also see that there's a nice contrast between polish and satination on the buckle itself. Rolling around to the case, you can see the same treatment here. We have satination on the top of the outer bezel. We have satination on the lug hoods, but then in profile you can see that we have polished flanks, polished coining. The lug bevels as well as outer faces are polished, and the upper bezel is entirely polished. It's somewhat inset from the outer bezel to create the impression of a thinner watch. We have both satination and polish on the stubby wave motif crown guards, and then we have a combination of polish and media blasting on the crown. It is a screw-down crown. The watch is 100 meters water resistant. A couple of subsidiary setting modes here. One of them is the hacking seconds function, which the prior family of marine automatics did not include. And then we also have a quick set system, so you can rapidly cycle the date. And you'll note that the date is actually staggered so that the inner digit is smaller, the outer digit is larger to more perfectly fill this roughly trapezoidal date window. The dial is made of solid gold. It's cut on rose lathes to create this guilloche motif, and by the way, it is a solid gold dial underneath, so a lovely piece, quite rich. We have Breguet style hands, or at least modified Breguet style hands, with applied solid gold radially oriented Roman numerals. We'll do a quick lume shot. Although it doesn't look it at first glance, the watch actually has quite a bit of luminescence, so you'll never have trouble reading it in the dark. The hands, of course, are rose gold polished, and they make for a high contrast against the silver dial base. And again, this is real reductive guilloche, not the kind you get that is stamped. This is the expensive kind. On the reverse side, you can see a Breguet caliber 777A automatic winding. With a 55-hour power reserve, it has both stop seconds, or hacking, and a quick-set mechanism. You can see the rotor has multiple finishes, including rounding and black polishing of the spokes of the rotor. The movement beats away at 28,800 vibrations per hour. It has an anti-magnetic silicone hairspring and a low-friction hybrid escapement with a silicone escape wheel and conventional pallet stones. It is a free-sprung architecture, so it can be adjusted very precisely using the variable inertia balance with its recessed aerodynamic balance weights, and the free-sprung architecture is also quite tough and shock tolerant. All of this pivots on 26 jewels, And it's shock resistant, it's anti-magnetic, it's also quite nicely decorated. As you can see, the bevels are handsome, likely started mechanically but finished with a manual buffing tool. The Côte de Genève, or the stripes across the bridges, are attractive, if not the most deeply gradiated, but you can see that they are not undifferentiated. You can see the difference in the texture that is applied when you turn the movement. You can see alternately one side will go dark and one side will stay silver, and you can really see that well. The texture is not uniform from stripe to stripe, so this is a very subtle and unconventional type of Côte de Genève. We also have satination on the wheels, black polish on all of the screw heads. The beveling is quite attractive, and you'll note not just engine turning on the base plate, but also the recesses of some of the bridges with satination on the springs as well as the wheels, and a lovely solarization pattern on the barrel itself, all of it with a 55-hour automatic winding power reserve and 100 meters water resistant. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.